So good evening. My name is Zinia Tejani and I would be hosting this webinar. So agricultural export comprises of 10% of our nation's export, and it is the fourth largest exporting commodity. The fresh food market has seen a very fast development lately, and this pattern gives no indication of easing back. Despite the fact that digitalization has eliminated different problems and eased our way to ordering produce from any part of the world, the export business still has a very difficult job. What the export business needs right now is to make this process more efficient, hence reducing the total wastage of the perishables as well as reducing the cost cuts of the export process. Today, we are typically looking at the challenges and how technology can help overcome these challenges. To talk in these regards today, we have with us Mr. Chaitanya Rajwade, business head at Mahindra and Mahindra Limited. He has been a part of the international food business for Mahindra since the past 2 decades. We also have with us Mr. Sanjay Borkar on our panel today. He is the CEO and the co-founder of Farm ERP. So, good afternoon, Mr. Chaitanya. Good afternoon, Mr. Sanjay.
Good afternoon, Jiri.
Yeah,
Thank you very much for having me here.
it's a pleasure, sir. So, Mr. Chaitanya, my first question would be to you. Could you please tell us a little bit more about your business?
See, we are part of Mahindra and Mahindra.
Hmm.
We represent Mahindra Agri Solutions Limited, which is 100% subsidiary of Mahindra and Mahindra, and is devoted to business in agriculture, right from inputs to like pesticides, seeds, and on output side we have fresh fruits, we have domestic arm, and we have exports. And in exports, we have been exporting grapes since 2005 to various countries from Europe to UK to Middle East, Southeast Asia, China, Russia, Canada, to name a few. And we procure from Nashik, almost all parts of Maharashtra and some part of Karnataka where grapes are grown. And we also, in the last 5-6 years, started expanding our business to Egypt. We also export from Egypt grapes, citrus, pomegranates, and we do have ambitions of truly becoming a global company in fresh fruits by virtue of doing international trade in the it's two sense where we do import as well as export across the companies, across the continents. That is about our business.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaitanya. Mr. Sanjay, it's a pleasure having you with us here. Could you please give the audience an idea about your company and brand, Farm ERP?
Yeah, thank you, Zinia. And
Yeah.
it's a pleasure having me also here because it will be an interesting discussion with Mr. Chaitanya. To give some background, we are a farm to fork digital platform which helps the complete agriculture supply chain. And we are in this business from quite some time. So we have started this business from 2001, which typically it's called IT in agriculture. In those days, it was not AgTech, but we started at that time. And we serve in around 25 different countries. We basically have farms as our clients, as packaging and export companies, fruits and vegetable, field crops. We work in almost every crop and in different regions. And we have got more than 2 decades of experience of doing this. It's my pleasure to be here today. Thanks.
Great, great. So, as we are all aware of the fact that COVID has impacted a wide range of businesses and industries, Mr. Chaitanya, how has COVID impacted Mahindra's business? In specific, the export business, from production to the entire process of harvesting, packaging, grading, to the actual process of export and movement.
See, basically, this COVID-19 was declared as pandemic by WHO on 11th March 2020, and subsequently, government declared lockdown from 22nd or 23rd March. If you see grape exports happens from January till April end.
Okay.
So we were at the fag end of our exports, but at the same time we had to stop exports from last week of March. That has of course led to reduction in our volumes. At the same time, the fruits was arriving in various markets, which also were in lockdown because of COVID, which disrupted the whole supply chain and also demand patterns, because of which, along with us, there are many fruit exporters and growers who had to face some financial stress. This was when it was declared as pandemic. We have to see what is its consequence going to be for the coming season. At the same time, I must say that after that we did our Egypt grapes exports. It went very well. In fact, we did our highest numbers from Egypt. What we see is uh, across the world, the consumption for fruits is increasing because people are giving more attention and importance to immunity building, and uh, fruit consumption is the main thing as being professed for building immunity. So I am but the challenge for the coming being densely populated country is going to be, if spread as we all see, the numbers are increasing. We'll have some challenges in terms of supply chain disruptions by virtue of the kind of things that we need to do in social distancing, etc., etc. Or we may, face local lockdowns for a moment. Such, challenges may appear, and which we may have to face.
Correct. So, for a more holistic viewpoint, how would you say has COVID affected the entire fresh fruit and vegetable export business? That is globally as well as pan India. This question is for you, Mr. Chaitanya.
See, so on demand side, demand is increasing, but demand is not going every twice or thrice a week to go and buy, fresh fruits. They are restricting going and buying once in a week, and by virtue of which, or once in 10 days, by virtue of which the demand is not uniformly distributed. There are spots, there are valleys. So because of which, the planning is going to take a very, very important position at the retailer's end or at the last mile delivery end. Another thing is e-commerce is going to gain prominence in delivering fruits to the doorstep of consumers. But demand overall is going to increase. As far as supply is concerned, see, you have to grow fruits. You can't do growing fruits requires labor, requires it's in Mother Nature's hand, and that is going to find some challenges in timely availability of labor, particularly in India. That may be the case, and because of which growers are going to find certain challenges. But what they are doing is they are trying to secure labor force for timely operation of grapes. But there is so is going to be the case elsewhere. But other countries are not so densely populated, so risk of COVID spread there is not as much as it is in India. That is how we look at it.
Correct. Mr. Sanjay, if you have any viewpoints on this that you would like to share.
Yeah, I think as Mr. Chaitanya said, the entire supply chain was disrupted because of COVID. And you could see a lot of produce which got wasted because the labor was not available,
Correct.
the transport were not available, and it was like the information and the entire supply chain being disrupted. It was very difficult to get the produce to the consumer. So I am not talking now only about exports, but I'm also talking about domestic consumer, farmer to consumer movement of the crops. So it has affected a lot. But if you see, there's a lot of digital technologies usage which has increased during this time, and which I think is going to increase, and that has helped a lot for the farmers to really reach to the consumers. Of course, I mean there is all stakeholders who are playing part of it. That's what I see about this COVID at this point of time.
Correct. So out of all of the problems and difficulties that you and Mr. Chaitanya have listed down for us, how do you think, Mr. Sanjay, can a technology platform help to solve these problems and ease the process of the export business?
I think you have to think very holistically for this.
Correct.
First of all, fresh fruits and vegetable is a perishable business. These are perishable items. Those has to reach to consumers in specific amount of time. So one has to have control over the entire supply chain. Now, to have a control over a supply chain, the all the stakeholders should be informed about where and what is growing and who needs what. So for that, I think technology can be really used for organizing this as a process. It could be used for collaboration. It could be used for communication of this information. And this could bring in a lot of predictability, as well as this could mitigate a lot of risks, similar kind of risk, which could be faced in the future. So like from where to source, like it's a big question. Now where to source? So from satellite imagery, we can find out where the cropping, where exactly the crop is available. Then the entire process of monitoring of the growth and bringing in the quality, then the harvesting part of it, then procurement, packing, and then storage and exports. So we can cover everything using technology over a technology platform. I think this is how we could help all the stakeholders to bring on a single platform and help them streamline the supply chain.
Mr. Chaitanya, the export business does sound like a very critical and a very complex business. How do you think is Farm ERP added value to your business? Since you've been associated with Farm ERP for a very long period now, I think it will be very interesting for the audience to know how Farm ERP has personalized their approach to enhance the efficiency of your business. Um, I think there is some technical error.
So
I
I
think
think we have missed him. Is he there?
no, I think he's dropped off. Yeah.
I could not see him in the list. Maybe by the time he joins, I think.
Maybe I actually had a similar question for you as well, Mr. Sanjay.
Yeah.
How do you think, a technology like Farm ERP can help more businesses, more export businesses in particular, like Mahindra?
Okay, that's an interesting question. Basically, it all starts from the growers. So I think we could be the technology partners for any similar kind of businesses. So we are not just solution providers. We could be partners in their growth, because with Mahindra, we are associated since 2014. And there's a continuous improvement in the platform which we are working on and which we have provided them, and that has helped them immensely. I think this could be more explained by Mr. Chaitanya, but let him join and he will tell about it. But meanwhile, I can talk more about it. So it starts from the actual source. So from where you want to source this produce. So for example, like is working in grapes. So for grapes or citrus, for any other fruits. So sourcing, that is doing a farmer survey, registering that farmer, then capturing the farmer's information on the field. So what he is growing, how he is growing, giving him good agricultural practices, because you have to bring him to a level of delivering a quality fruit which is expected by someone in Europe, someone in Russia, someone in Middle East who has given their specifications. So all these quality norms can be inbuilt, and this data can be captured. So all this package of practices and how they are following up. whether they are following up the good agriculture practices, that can be captured. Second comes the monitoring and the observation. Then comes the yield estimation. The yield estimation can be done manually. These days, it could be done with drones. Typically, in horticulture crops, doing yield estimation through satellite imagery is a bit tough, but the experiments are on. But we typically do it manually and sometimes with the help of drones. Now, after that comes the sample testing, like pesticide residue monitoring, which is very important in case of exports of fresh fruits and vegetables, because global gap standards demand some kind of phytosanitary norms, and you need to do all this. So we have also added some third-party laboratories in this. So we have given them logins. So laboratory can log in from their individual login, and they can see the samples coming from the farmers, and they can key in the reports. Some kind of intelligence is added to this, in which we say that this intelligence could be in the form of the laboratories giving in the finding out the residues on the sample, and for which particular client this residue or this particular sample can be packed. So we have gone to that level. Then after that comes harvest planning. So we do a lot of field QC, then comes harvest planning. So we help them do harvest plan, then mapping that harvest plan to the pack houses if you have multiple pack houses, because that's very tricky. You have limited resources on the pack houses and you have to pack it immediately when you harvest it in the morning. So that entire chain up to the arrival quality check. Then once the quality check is done, then we have done integration with weighing scale, and that particular produce gets in the pack house. Then the entire packing, that is cleaning, grading, packing through the teams, is captured. Then the palletization, which is captured, after which every pallet gets a sticker, even the carton gets a sticker, which gets printed through the platform. And then it gets pre-cooled, and then whenever the time comes, you can request for the container, and we have also added as a third party C&H agent who could fill in the container details. So you need not fill in the container details on continuous basis. And then the container loading is done. Once the container loading is done, then the entire export documentation till the end, which customer needs to monitor, and that is entered. And we have also given a login to the customer, so customer can also log in and see where my container is and what is the status and from which farmer it has come, and ultimately the traceability. So a consumer level traceability is offered, because every punnet, every carton gets a QR code. And if someone in the supermarket in Europe scans it, he can actually go to a level of a farmer. So that's an end-to-end traceability which is covered. So this entire business is captured right from farmer's field to the export documentation to the customer, and that gives an entire visibility to all the stakeholders. And because it is on the single platform, it is on the cloud, one can monitor it from any location. I think Mr. Chaitanya is back.
Yeah.
You could put the same question earlier, which you
Yeah.
put.
So Mr. Chaitanya, like I said, that you have been associated with Farm ERP for a very long time now. I would like to know, how Farm ERP has personalized their approach to, enhance the efficiency of your business and to make it a more smoother process.
Basically, Farm ERP technology platform, when we decided that we want to digitize our business, because scalability comes only when you adopt these IT technology platforms. Is what we realized. So we evaluated many technology platforms, and what we could realize that Farm ERP is the one which suits our type of business and business processes. So, and then what happened was once we had that understanding very clearly, evaluated, and then there was an onboarding of Farm ERP, wherein what we could really find is the team at Farm ERP is very flexible. They because one thing I would like to tell all those who are attending this program is one is deciding to adopt an IT technology platform, and it is another to actually successfully execute it, which starts giving you benefits. And in that, it is beyond that IT platform, the main or the team behind it in that company makes a big difference. And grape exports is a seasonal kind of business. So it runs from Jan to April. And after that, there is nothing. So within that period, if we miss the bus, we miss the bus for a year. So during that period, we actually charted what just now Sanjay talked about all our business processes. So they had that almost those logics had to be developed, which they did. But most important is that cultural change, which a company which is working on a standalone basis has to go through in when you adopt a technology platform. Uh, that cultural transformation was possible because Farm Therapy team did a very good handholding of the entire team, and since 2014 we have been working at it, and every year we try and bring in some kind of addition to the whole thing, because what we have realized is basically what Farm ERP has done, this technology platform has done for us is to eliminate non-value added activities. It has helped us make faster decisions. It has given us very high level of analytics, by virtue of which decision making becomes database and not heuristic. Third thing, which is very, very important, is we have been able to integrate outside partners, be it customers or our CHAs or lab, and it has become a seamless kind of a business process. Can actually through Farm ERP see what is getting packed online real time. So moving towards real time is what we are actually been able to achieve. So we have given this open invitation to customers that they get the password, they get login, they can log in anytime, and they want to see the fruit getting packed. That also can be shown. So that is what has happened, and we are working on some further things with them in terms of dashboards, high level of analytics, which can really help us move towards predictive analysis. And that's going to be the name of the game for the future. And using some kind of neural networks and artificial intelligence, all that stuff.
Correct. So, Mr. Sanjay, I would like to ask you, what exactly can a software like Farm ERP help with? By that, I mean, how exactly can Farm ERP be personalized for different kinds of export business, for different kind of needs that these businesses would have?
Okay, I think Farm ERP at this point of time is crop agnostic. So the way we have designed it is it works for grapes, it works for pomegranates, citrus, then bananas, apples, nectarines, peaches, vegetables, various different kinds of vegetables. So it's crop agnostic. So that's not a problem. So we need not um, customize anything if we change the process. We just need to configure it. That's the only thing which we need to do. And that is the important exercise which is we do with the businesses. Now, the most important thing which is talked by Mr. Chaitanya is about the culture. So here I would like to appreciate Team Mahindra because he's leading it, and he himself is such a passionate leader that the entire team is fully passionate about the business. Like they have some targets, there's so many containers and they have to complete those in that time. And grapes is such a business that it comes in only in 4 months, 4 to 5 months of the year. So these guys are so self-motivated, and that helped us a lot, in fact, because our team and their team is a single team. And that is what I think a success is, because when our team works with other companies, we try to see that both work as a single team. And the challenges, real challenges we face is the implementation, because everything is possible. So developing a software is comparatively much easier than using it. And that too a kind of a platform which Farm ERP is. You need to have all the stakeholders, right from someone who is working on the field, someone who is at the quality level, doing the quality of the fruit in the field, someone who is checking the quality when it is arriving at the pack house, like checking the berry color, berry size, and the bricks and all these details. Then someone who is continuously managing the quality process of how the packing is going, how the grading is being done, and further the palletization and then pre-cooling. So it's very critical. So all these operations, every operation is very critical, and there are third-party players which are involved, and their timely support is very important to deliver that quality of fruit to the customer. And these people are so engaged on day-to-day basis that they work round the clock in that season. So for us also, it's a challenge to support them. And I would say that we have learned it hard way from them, that how to support a customer when they need a round the clock support, and that is helping us to go to multiple level of different sizes of client. So here I would like to add that Mahindra is having let's say a bigger size, is kind of a leader in the industry. But we also serve some smaller size, comparatively smaller, medium to small size of export houses, fruits and vegetables. So we also work with them. Typically, now, as Mr. Chaitanya said, that just collecting the data on a single platform and making it available for the users is keeping control over the operations. But then what about decision making? Like for today, this year, I spent so much of money on packaging material. Now for the next year, how much is the investment I would like to do in the packaging material? What would be my packing plan? So these people keep on working in the simultaneously getting the orders from the clients. So they have I mean, it's a very difficult task. I'll tell you, it's much difficult than creating a software, because on the one side clients are demanding something with some specifications. On the other side, they have to find out the players like the growers from whom they can get the same quality, and during the process they have to maintain the quality. They have to follow global gap norms, they have to do some audits, they have to take some government officials on board and get their certifications. So there are n number of different certifications and documentation which needs to be done. Although we have mapped everything into it, but I think this is the very critical business. And as government is now being very bullish on seeing the exports growing, agriculture exports growing, I think companies like Mahindra could be a kind of leaders. There are other companies as well could be leaders, and going digital is the mantra. I mean, without technology, it's very difficult. But with technology, it would be comparatively simpler. That's what I would like to say at this point of time.
So we actually have a couple of questions from attendees in the chat box. So I will just read them out to you, and then the both of you all could put your inputs in it.
Okay.
So we have a question from Fiza Merchant. Is being techno savvy a requirement while using this software? A lot of individuals throughout the value chain are not too customized to this technology. So would it be user friendly for them?
Okay, I think this is a very interesting question. Fiza, what happens that, when you work in this kind of industry, you work right from the staff, which is at ground level, to the top level management, who are the CXOs. So everybody's requirement is different, and I can understand that everybody is not that techno savvy. But the way we have designed it and made it so user friendly, and because we have got experience in working in different regions at different hierarchies of people, we have actually designed the mobile apps as well as web app. So we have mobile app which works without internet on the ground, so anyone can use it and key in the information, and that gets pushed to the central server on the cloud, and that's very user friendly. And with minimum of, I would say, 1 week of training, this is possible. People can start using it, so you don't require like very techno savvy manpower to use it. This is a normal question every business asks us.
Any inputs that you would like to add, Mr. Chaitanya, to this question relating to probably the use of the farm ERP technology?
So basically, ultimately, when it comes to using this, it is the user interface. That user interface is very simple to operate. Very easy to understand. It's largely driven by drop-down menus. So the person who's actually working on it, who has to do kind of data entry has to be done. He doesn't have to think too much. He has to just follow the sequence. The user interface gives him that sequence. He has to just follow that, and kind of to an extent there can be multiple choice questions, or there are few fill in the blanks which he has to do, he or she has to do. So there is not that. See, this is the beauty of this technology platform, that it is user interface is easy to understand and operate. So
Correct.
there is not a single person who has come back to us in last 6 years who has said that I don't understand how I have to enter in the data. I don't understand what is being asked. So that has not happened.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great. Do you want to add, Mr. Sanjay, something, or should we move on to the next?
I think, see, being user centric is something very important. So we also work on many projects which work with smallholder farmers. So I just want to add that whether you use artificial intelligence, you use deep learning, you use blockchain, you use predictive modeling. So these are all technologies. What is important is problem solving. So whether I am able to solve the problem for the user. So the user could be a farmer, he could be a packing in charge, he could be a quality analyst, he could be a manager, he could be he could be anyone. But whether I am able to solve his problem with the simplest UI with this technology. So we are working on a lot of along with this, we're working on climate smart agriculture. So providing kind of artificial intelligence based solutions and advisory to the fruits and vegetable farmers. So we have already started. Typically with the grapes, we have done a lot of work. So we have done a lot of different intelligent algorithms with the help of scientists, and those are helping, and even the models, those are helping the farmers to derive the actual harvest date. So based on the pruning date, they could derive and come to the harvest date. So these are some of the models. Typically for the grapes, we have done it. Talking about the businesses, I could see there are a lot of challenges these days, because the front ending is also very important, like having a B2B sale and having a B2C sale. So these days in COVID-19, you could see that there's a lot of awareness which has grown among the consumers about food safety, and they are getting more aware that from where my food is coming, from where my fruit is coming, from where my vegetables coming. So it really makes sense that they should know that from where their produce is coming. And that's what a technology can achieve. We had done this for Mahindra, that with the QR code, they can trace it back and it goes to a consumer level. If there are some issues, then they can recall that particular batch, or they could inquire what has happened and all. But the beauty is we have tried to brought in, of course, with their help, some kind of intelligence, we put a lot of customer specifications, like customer gives specifications, and based on the quality parameters, it selects for which customer this particular plot can be packed. So this is something which I think is very important.
Correct. So we have another question from Aviral Agarwal. How can Farm ERP help in managing complex inventory operations, considering multiple stores in multiple locations?
Yeah, so like a typical ERP platform, Farm ERP already has inventory, then purchase, sales, accounts, all these modules. And along with this, we also have a contract farming module, so which typically helps you in managing the farmer's information. Now, from the farmer, when it comes to the pack house, you could define multiple pack houses and stores in Farm ERP. And then you could get the data, get the items or the produce in, you could process it, and then you convert that into finished goods with some SKUs, and then you can sell this. So it could go to the sales order, and even then it could go to the sales invoice if you are using accounting module. On the other side, whatever you are procuring from the farmer, you could see this into a farmer ledger. So you can create a farmer invoicing in this, and you could see it in the farmer ledger. So multiple stores and multiple locations, this is the key, and you could give access to multiple storekeepers also here.
Thank you, Mr. Sanjay. Mr. Chaitanya, there is a question for you from Rajashekar Reddy. Can you please brief major challenges in exporting fresh fruits and vegetables into different countries like Middle East and Russia, etc.? Mr. Chaitanya, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, he's in.
Yeah.
Yeah, so basically, let me start with Russia. In Russia and also in Middle East, most important is finding credit-worthy partners, because you have to do business on credit, you have to extend credit. So I would really request Rajshekar to that selecting genuine party is going to be important, so that your debtors are valid and you get your money back in time. So genuine parties selecting is important. After that, and for doing that, there are many ways. One can go to ECGC and take a credit, rating of the customers. Second thing, and then take a credit cover. Government has invested a lot of money in this credit guarantee scheme. Second is afterwards understanding what the customer profile is in terms of who he sells to, etc., and understanding his product requirements and pain points, and then coming up with a proper value proposition and start taking a step-by-step approach. And rather than being too ambitious about, doing a lot of volume, building confidence by doing step-by-step few containers, wherein there will be a risk of quality, all that will happen. But if these sound principles are followed generally, anybody, and then ensuring that the back end, the entire supply chain quality has not to be compromised, which is paramount, quality on arrival at the point of sale or to the customer, end customer. That is what has to be ensured. I hope that answered the question from Mr. Rajshekar.
Yeah, thank you so much. We have another question from Rahul Raj. As a small exporter doing couple of air shipments per week, how can Farm ERP be helpful for me? Will it be commercially viable?
I think it will be commercially viable. The reason being, we also support many small to medium size of businesses. As this is modular and it comes into number of user licenses as you use and on cloud, so we could extend that to any number of licenses. So we can serve even smaller businesses with a limited scope of operations. As it is modular, we have various features. So you can select the number of features and then we could give you the appropriate pricing. I think it is commercially definitely viable for any size of business.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mrs. Sanjay. Another question from the attendees. What is the typical size of investment required to get into this business stream? This question can be open to the both of you all.
I mean, if you're talking from software perspective, again, I will say that that all depends on what is the size of your business and whether it is small, medium, or big. It depends on the number of user licenses you use, that I would say. Typically from exports perspective, I think Mr. Chaitanya would be able to answer this. How much investment is needed to start exports business?
I think the question was towards what would be the investment if they have to look at such kind of technology platform. Is that right, Zinia, or it was related to?
It was a very open-ended question by the attendee. I feel like the both of you all could put your inputs in it.
Yeah, so if it is for exports, one can start an export with an equity capital of around, let's say, anywhere between 4 to 5 crores for a
Okay.
decent to take it to a decent level, because uh, what is very important is the return on capital employed in this business is really good, provided you are able to deliver quality and get right fruit of right quality at right price and deliver it in quality to the customer with a good customer. That is what I would like to say.
Thank you, Mr. Chaitanya. We have another question for Mr. Chaitanya from the attendees. Can any of you suggest me what precautions should you take in the export business?
So I think I need to give an kind of an an SOP. See, first more than precaution, first be very clear on this is a very risky business. It is not very, it's not something that you have made a car and that car has clicked and you are able to, it has become popular. So you manufacture it and you are selling it. You are dealing with a product which is in hands of Mother Nature, and every season, or not every season, every carton, every plot of the produce is different from another plot. So ability to put in place sound processes for implementing creates the biggest challenge that one has to really overcome in these businesses. Inconsistency, be it inconsistency in demand. In fact, demand is not inconsistent. It is inconsistency in supply, inconsistency in quality. And when we say quality, is not quality only in farm. Quality in your packing, inconsistency in labeling. Yeah, today, just now when we are speaking, is stuck on the border from Belarus to, I think, Latvia somewhere, because the sticker on the carton is wrong and the authorities have said your document and stickers are wrong. It was from Egypt still. So it's a quality across and consistency across. This is going to be very important. So, and understanding value proposition, what customer wants and also value proposition to the grower in Indian context, that becomes a very, very important thing, actually.
Correct. Another question from Dr. Das. Will the final price of the product get increased if we use the digital value chain platform for a customer-centric understanding?
Yeah, can increase because if you understand the digital platform and your ability to analyze the whole, value chain gets refined, so you will be able to right price the product. Another very important thing in a business to see is it is not about whether you want to be, increase the price shouldn't be the objective only. The objective has to increasing the return to the enterprise, to the business. You can have low price, but still your return to enterprise can improve because your, cash cycle can improve. So
Correct.
looking at the business are various aspects, which technology platforms like Farm Hierarchy can tell you. For instance, you are able to increase the sales price by 5%, okay, but the payment will come after 6 months. Against that, if at the same price you get payment at the time of delivery, you are able to have much more return on capital. So there are various aspects of looking at the business. So
Hmm.
this should not be the only criteria to be looked at. If you are increasing the price, you may have to also pay higher price to raw material. So you have to look at the margin.
Correct.
I think I also want to add to this.
Hmm.
Uh, using a digital value chain definitely adds to your expenses initially because you have to invest in the systems. You have to invest in, let's say, even if it is cloud-based software, you have to invest in as a service, software as a service as we give. But then if you see the return on investment, it should not be even less than 6 months. The reason being if you're managing your data on, let's say, Excel sheets or in 3-4 different softwares, then time you spent in just collecting that information, aggregating those and analyzing those takes hell lot of a time. And that time you can save and you could take faster decision. Now this business needs faster decisions. This is not something कि मैंने आज predict कर लिया and मुझे ये कल next month में देना है. This keeps on changing week by week on week, and even the availability of the crop as well, because these days climate change has affecting the agriculture a lot. So you have to be really alert, and that's why going digital, I am not promoting it because it is just my business, but it is inevitable at this moment of time. If you see during COVID, how many of you have started more ordering things digitally? Even farmers have started ordering their fertilizers and pesticides. So the number of digital users and its acquisition has increased, and that is going to grow. So after some years, it's going to be inevitable. I think it's better you start early investing in it, so you get the return and you become a leader in that particular category.
Um, so there are two questions from Mr. Reddy right now. One is for Chaitanya sir, and the other one is for Sanjay sir. So I'll go with the first one. Chaitanya sir, what percent exports of fresh fruits goes as consignment sales?
Can you repeat I missed your voice in between. Can you repeat the
Yeah.
question?
What percent exports of fresh fruits goes as consignment sales?
Oh, in our case,
Yeah.
it is around 50%.
Okay. Sanjay sir, there's a question for you as well from Mr. Reddy. How different is Farm ERP from other similar platforms available in India?
Okay, I think I don't compare myself with others, but I would definitely say we are better because we are thinking more holistic. We are having a capability to integrate even the legacy software systems. Like in case of Mahindra, we have integrated that with SAP because their financials runs on SAP. So we could seamlessly do it. And now the exchange of information has avoided the duplication of the entries for them. For some businesses like Dharampal Satyapal Group, we have integrated this with Oracle Financials. So we could integrate this with, legacy software systems. Also, we integrate this with smart devices. So in case of Mahindra, we have integrated their weighing scale. So the data directly comes to the system. In some of the cases, in some of our clients' cases, we have integrated that with biometric devices as well as iris recognition systems. Even the printers are integrated, which print labels. So there's a lot of integration which is possible, and we are very much open for it. Secondly, we are different because we think long term, and we think as a technology partner, not as a technology provider to the company. So we work hand in hand. So that is, I would say, that is the different DNA which we have than other companies. And I know that giving a software or a solution, again, I will tell you that there are n number of companies, but then how you implement it, how you make them use it, how you support them during the process, and how you improve it, that makes you different than others. So that's what we are.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sanjay. Again, we have a question from the attendees that could be open for the both of y'all. What are the challenges faced due to the stop and delay of the transportation facilities due to the pandemic?
So I think I would like to add one thing here. That the real challenge was there's a lot of wastage in the harvest because the transportation facilities were not available. But this actually helped. There's a lot of surge in using digital platforms like even WhatsApp and Facebook to reach and find out where we can go. So of course the limitation increased the losses for the farmers, and I think Mr. Chaitanya would be the right person to tell how his business affected, because his business was at the peak when this lockdown was declared. So Chaitanya sir, if you would like to answer this. I think you're on mute.
What is the question, Sanjay? Can you repeat? I got disconnected.
Yeah, I'll repeat the question. What were the challenges faced due to the stop and delay of the transportation facilities due to the pandemic?
See, frankly speaking, we had to hold back fruit for longer period of time in the cold stores, which has gone beyond the its shelf life, because the there are no containers, there are no drivers, so we had to actually have around 45, 50, 60 lakh worth of material which was just lying there. And when we wanted to sell it in domestic, there was no movement happening. So that was a substantial thing, because the disruption, the movement was not happening. And it was for that, those 2, 3, 4 weeks that it was the case. And these are extraordinary situations, they are abnormal things, not
Exactly.
something happens in normal life.
Exactly.
While we wait for more questions from the attendees, is there anything that you, Mr. Sanjay or Mr. Chaitanya, you would additionally like to talk about or add that could add more value to this webinar?
Chaitanya sir.
Basically, what I could, few questions which came uh, is the kidneys of people, while they understand how complex this business is, to understand what makes it succeed in this business, and what is the use of this technology platform. So in both these things, it is very important that fruits and vegetable is a perishable commodity. We don't sell uh, fruits, and we sell time. I say that in this business, we sell time. We don't sell fruits, because, and that being the case, knowing that we have to do every process right is important. Margin for error is very small. Interventions gives a great deal of help. As Sanjay rightly said, it gives some initial investment it has, but it compresses the time to market. That is also very important because you make quick decisions and you reach out to customers and you are able to develop very transparent way of working with the customers that builds confidence in minds of the customer. Sanjay, over to you.
Yeah, I think, sir, very rightly said. Decision making is the key because for every business, if you take the decisions at right time, those are going to add value to and add to your profits also, or even reduce your losses, whatever you say. So in this case, I would say that systems, digital systems, and the platforms definitely help. Adding to it, what I would say that if you talk about food safety and traceability, which is a lot of you could say there's a multifold kind of discussions around these two words these days. I would say that consuming nutritious food, that is fruits and vegetables, but there are a lot of chemicals which are sprayed on it. So how do you control that? And do you have any mechanism in which you could actually record and see that how many chemicals are there? How do you produce this residue-free produce and then market it? I would say that is something which is also possible with technology, with the platform, because the entire list of chemicals, its pre-harvest intervals and its MRLs, maximum residue limits, those are already coined in the system. So those definitely help in case of customers, and there they could add value as a premium on their product, and there they can add as a add to the profits. Saving would be definitely on the inventory because the things which are expiring, and of course the labor management, because this is very labor centric, typically when the season is at the peak, and you need to actually estimate the resources according to your packing plan. So here, according to the packing plan, you could get week-wise resource estimation in the system. Like for week 13, you want these many number of boxes, these many number of people working on it, these teams, and you have to procure this much tons of fruit. So we have gone to that level, and that level definitely helps in keeping control over the business. And I think as you do the business, in early days it was more disorganized, but with the professional companies like Mahindra and other companies working into this, they have brought in a lot of professionalism in it, and the international certifications has also brought in a lot of discipline towards the quality of food safety, like Global Gap and all. So I think everything coming onto a same platform is kind of a best practices. So if you follow this, it will give you the best fruits and vegetable export business practices. So it's just like any other ERP when you call it. So I think that's all from my side. What question?
We have a couple of more questions from the attendees.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a question. It goes, is there any cold storage and preservation course for fruits and vegetables? Also advise machinery equipments for fruits and vegetables cutting.
I think that's
So, see, basically, there is one course on what is called as post-harvest management of fruits and vegetables, which I know of. There are two courses. One is in UC Davis University of California, and another is in Wagen in Holland. In India, there is one which is, I think, in Chandigarh. If you do a Google, you'll find. But at the same time, uh, you will find much more, I would say, knowledge and information on if you Google things. nowadays that is a very good way of understanding things, and by interacting with people, that is what I would suggest. There is structured post-harvest management certified courses in India are not to a great extent developed. But yes, it is available in these two universities and also in South Africa, uh, Stellenbosch University in Cape Town, I think. What is another question? Process, machinery for food. There's so many from Europe,
Hmm.
from China. There are many. It all depends on what you exactly want to do. When we say that
Correct.
we are looking at processing, there are many where there are exhibitions. Now in pandemic you won't find, but there are two exhibitions if people really want to understand more and more.
Hmm.
One is Berlin Fruit Logistica is one should visit, and second is in Hong Kong Asia Fruit Logistica. Berlin is typically in February, and this Hong Kong one is September. So there are complete halls, huge stalls and halls dedicated to all these things. Whether it is,
Exactly.
that is what that is how one gets to know many things. Hope that answers the question. Jimmy.
Yeah.
I
Definitely.
I think this time in Fruit Logistica we represented. We had our booth there, and I could see the kind of exhibition it is. It's very huge. There are a lot of latest technologies around fruits and vegetables which are being presented there. Of course, we were one of them as a platform, but there are many machineries which are there. So that even visiting their website and visiting the list of the exhibitors could help you in getting answer to your question there.
Perfect. So we have one more question for Mr. Sanjay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's asked by Srirang Shtisikar. Yeah. So do importers also have access to Farm ERP, or is it only a system for exporters working with farmers?
No, I mean, this particular platform, you can give access to anyone. It could be given to importer, buyer, exporter, middleman, laboratory, clearing and handling agent. Even if you want to bring in any kind of third party, you can give them access to the system. So it is up to you to whom you want to make a part of the system. If and you can give them credentials, and with that credentials they can log in, and they can only see the data to which they are restricted. So it is not because we have a very strong roles and permission module into it, and they can be restricted to only that data. I hope I answered that question for him
Yeah.
correctly.
Um, so there is one more question for you, Chaitanya sir. More frequent lockdown seems to be more certain in the coming season. How are you preparing for it?
Basically, what we are doing is we are trying to decentralize rather than having it at one place. We are trying to see how, because we are expecting that lockdowns won't happen pan India. That's not going to work. It won't happen across the region. So we are basically looking at decentralizing. That is how you can minimize the impact of lockdowns.
I
Okay.
think
Decentralizing at source, decentralizing at markets, both.
right. I think and decentralizing also minimizes the risk because you're not putting all your eggs in single basket. And for decentralizing, again, I would say you want to go digital because then you could have control over the multiple stores, locations, operations on that.
And also you need capability to handle that. Means one is having a digital medium, another is having that kind of team which can work and function in a decentralized manner, which is
Uh,
empowered, which is trained.
exactly.
There are many aspects. Even to operate a digital, platform and all that stuff.
Rightly said. Very right. Yeah.
Okay. I guess we've come to the end of our webinar. Um, I would really like to thank Mr. Chaitanya Rajwade as well as Mr. Sanjay Borkar for being a part of this webinar and giving us really insightful information. This information has surely helped all of the attendees who were a part of the webinar with us. So yeah, thank you so much to the both of y'all. Any last remarks that you would like to say?
See, I would like to thank all the attendees for taking out time and listening to us patiently and asking so many questions. At the same time, I would, request all of them to stay safe, take all due care for themselves and their families and their extended families so that we have safe society, the spread is contained, and at the earliest, the entire this COVID pandemic gets over and we are able to move freely. But till such time, I request and urge everybody to take due care and wish everybody all the best. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much, Mr. Chaitanya. Mr. Sanjay, any final remarks that you would like to give?
I think I would like to thank all the attendees for attending, showing patience, and asking the questions. The questions are right, so I think we got a very good audience today. And I would like to thank Mr. Chaitanya also for participating in this, because he is a very busy person and still he participated, and we could have a very interesting conversation. I would again like to say, everyone, stay safe and stay healthy. And that's all from my side. Thank you, Xenia, for your good comparing. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much to all the attendees once again, and thank you so much to our panelists for giving us this time. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.